Good morning and welcome to another episode of Saturday Morning with Sam. I am Sam Gaylord, managing partner at Gaylord Pop and disability litigator in the state of New Jersey, representing injured workers in the areas of workers' compensation, Social Security, disability, and disability pension appeals. And good morning and welcome to another beautiful Saturday. Finally, we have a few in a row, so that's always good. I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us the last several weeks as we have officially moved into our new location at 120 Sanhican Drive. It has been great having everybody, the comments about the new building and everything. It's a lot of fun. I want to say thank you to everybody who has been joining me during these last couple of episodes, and the questions that have been asked have been great. So please make sure that we keep those coming so that we can make sure that we're answering all of the questions that need to get answered and providing the correct information. So with that, I just want to jump right in today. I have two topics that I really wanted to get to and talk about today to help answer some specific questions. We had some questions come up. What happens? So when you go to workers' compensation court, when the case is actually settled and we go to court, there's going to be an award, a court order that you're going to wind up getting. And so what happens is that from the date of the court order, the insurance company only has 60 days to make the payment. And so the question had come up, especially with the city of Trenton, that what happens if they don't pay within that 60-day window? What can you do? Well, the first thing that you can do is, as the attorney, is you file a motion to enforce the original judgment. So you do that in court, and then you'll get a new court date, and it'll get listed. Now, the hope is that once you file that within the period of time from the attorney filing that till you actually get in front of a judge, that they will, in fact, make that payment. But if they don't, or even if they do, there's still potential penalties and interest that the other side, the insurance company side, will be responsible to pay. So if they don't pay it by the time you get to court, then the judge is going to enter an order that's going to, require them to pay that within a shorter period of time, probably 10 days, and also start to assess penalties and fees for their failure to pay it within the original 60 days. So what happens if they don't pay it again at that point? Then, again, file a second motion to enforce, and the same judge is now going to enter a second order, and potentially a third order or fourth order. So that doesn't obviously help the injured worker get their money. I recognize that, but there are penalties and fees that are assigned if they don't pay within that period of time. So in addition to the original amount, the insurance company is going to have to pay additional penalties for their failure to get that paid in the appropriate period of time. Now, the issue is that, and again, this comes up now with the city of Trenton. We have a case where judge entered an order. We filed now the motion to enforce. And then the question is, well, what happens if they just don't pay? And then we're going to keep on going. And then eventually what we'll wind up having to do is we'll have to docket the judgment and move forward over in Superior Court to get them to make that payment. So more work for us to get you your money, but at the end of the day, again, they're going to have to be assigned or assessed penalties and fees for their failure. Plus, if we have to do that in Superior Court, we're going to obviously have them pay those attorneys' fees as well. So the issue really doesn't come up that often. The only time it really comes up these days is, again, with the city of Trenton. And so we'll hopefully see what happens after July 1st. I don't think anything's going to change, But I agree, it is disgusting. If they're going to settle a case and they're going to put it through, the answer is that they should have the money so that they can make the payment to their workers. The idea of workers' compensation insurance is that whomever the employer is, that they're protecting their employees. Well, obviously, the city of Trenton isn't thinking that, because although their people get hurt and although they're providing medical treatment, they're also not compensating their injured workers. When I can't tell you the number of cases that we have right now where all the answer is that they're waiting for authority. Well, that's like waiting for Godot, who's never going to show up. So the answer is that more and more we're just going to wind up starting trials with the city of Trenton, because without that and without a judge pushing on just entering court orders, it doesn't appear that they're going to wind up making any payments to any of their workers. So in essence, they might as well be uninsured. So again, it goes back to the frustration of, well, why can't, if they're the city or the county or the state or whatever, why can't they just take care of their employees? So that's one. And then the second part of that comes out. So, the constant question is, when you have a settlement, am I going to get all of my money up front, or do I get payments? And the answer is, and I hate to give the lawyer answer, but it does depend. And what happens is, when you go to court, remember, there are two ways that a workers' compensation court case can settle. The case can settle by way of payment, where the case is then closed. And I agree, judges definitely need to be more petitioner. It is workers' compensation, not employers' compensation. So they should be more petitioner friendly. But so if the insurance company settles a case and they're going to pay you money and it closes the case out, then at that point, they're going to be in a position where that check is a one-time lump sum check. So no matter the number, you're going to get the whole thing in one lump sum. However, if your case settles by a percentage of disability, that's going to entitle you to a certain number of weeks of payments, So as an example, if you were found to be 10% disabled because you had a shoulder injury, then that's going to entitle you to 60 weeks of payments. 60 weeks of payments. So what you do is you look backwards in time and you see when the last payment came. So as an example, if you last got paid workers' comp after you got hurt and exactly 1 year had come and gone from the time they paid you to the time you get your first check, 1 year, so there's 52 weeks. But your 10% entitles you to 60 weeks of payments. So you get 52 weeks accrued, so that you get up front, and then you're going to get 2 months more of payments so that the entire 60 weeks is paid out to you. And that's how it works. So a whole bunch of it depends is from the time that you finish your treatment until the time your case settles, how much time does that take? And from the time that it depends on the percentage of disability. The higher the percentage of disability, the greater the dollar, and also the greater number of weeks of payments. So 10% represents 60 weeks. 20% represents 120 weeks. So if you have a 20% disability in workers' compensation, that's 120 weeks of payments. So it's over 2 years of payments. So again, in that context, you're going to get a lump sum amount of money, then you're going to get payments until it's all paid out. The advantage there is that from the time that you get the last payment, thank you, Rose. From the time that you get the last payment, you now have an additional 2-year window where you can reopen your case. And remember, it's not 2 years when you're in court. It's 2 years from the date that you receive a final benefit. And the workers' comp insurance, or the statute rather, defines benefit as being either the payment for a medical treatment, and it's not just the paying for treatment, it's the actually going to the visit. But if they send you to a doctor in that window, it resets your 2 years, or 2 years from the date that you get the final payment. So that's where your reopener rights, your 2-year excuse me, your 2-year reopener rights come into play. Is that it's 2 years from the date that they last received, from the time that you last receive a benefit. So that I wanted to talk about a little bit as the first topic today in terms of payments. And then the second topic that I wanted to get into is an overlap of benefits between workers' compensation and Social Security disability. So the first question is, do they interact? The answer is yes, they do. The second question is, okay, now that those two are interacting, how does it work? Well, if somebody is receiving temporary disability benefits from workers' comp, that is that they've gotten hurt and they're out of work, then they're getting paid from workers' compensation. Now, if they're getting paid from workers' compensation and they're also getting Social Security disability, the Social Security disability is going to be reduced. So workers' comp stays as whatever you're supposed to get paid, but Social Security disability can get reduced. So that's how that works. Now, if you receive an award from workers' comp, a percentage of disability, those are additional payments from workers' comp. Those too can have an effect on your Social Security benefits. So if you get 30% disability, absolutely, Brian. But if you get 30% disability, then what happens is the Social Security dollars will come down because now you're getting paid that workers' comp award. Okay, workers' comp award stays unaffected, but the Social Security can come down. If in workers' compensation you are found to be totally disabled, so that is that workers' comp is saying you will never work again, then what happens is that the Social Security stays unaffected. So whatever you get from Social Security, that stays unaffected. And workers' compensation benefits come down because you're getting the Social Security disability. That only happens if you are found to be totally disabled through workers' compensation. Morning, Ted. So just to be clear, and just to sort of go through it again, if you're getting paid temporary disability from workers' comp, that stays as is, but Social Security comes down. If you get a percentage of disability as an award for your injury through workers' comp pays that, and Social Security comes down. If you are found to be totally disabled in workers' compensation, then workers' compensation comes down, but Social Security stays at the higher level. So that's sort of an interaction between those two things. The most important part of the entire conversation is this. If you are out of work for more than 6 months, and it looks like you're going to be out of work for at least 1 year, make sure you start the Social Security disability process. That process right now can take over 2 years. From the time that you pick up the phone or go online and start the Social Security disability application, it can take up to 2 years to get BAS benefits from Social Security disability. So start, all right? When you start, you include everything. Every medical problem that you have, every doctor that you see, every medication you take, whatever the issue may be, you include it in your application. The more the merrier, the more paper that goes to Social Security, the easier it is to acquire those benefits. So medical documentation is critical when it comes to the Social Security disability process. But definitely get started. Again, if you're out of work for at least 6 months and it looks like you're going to be out for at least 1 year, all right, Sherry, that's funny. Then you want to make sure that you apply. And you can do that by calling 800-772-1213. That's 1-800-772-1213. Or you can go to the local office and do the application, or you can go online to ssa.gov and get that started. But definitely start that process. And you want to do that if you've gotten hurt at work and it looks like you're going to be out for an extended period of time, even though you're receiving those workers' comp benefits, you want to get that process started because, again, you can receive both benefits at the same time. Social Security is going to be reduced, but it's additional dollars that you could receive if you're going to be out for at least 1 year. And that's sort of the linchpin. If you go back to work in 11 months, then you won't be eligible for any money from Social Security disability. So you got to be out for at least 1 year. So those are the two topics that I wanted to talk about this morning. Again, I want to say thank you to everyone who is answering, or I should say asking questions throughout the course of the week. I truly appreciate that. I get a whole bunch of emails and stuff, so keep them coming. And then what we need to do is if you want to get in touch with me, you can either call the office, 609-771-8611, or you can email me at sgaylord@gaylordpop.com. That's sgaylord@gaylordpop.com. Morning, David. Or if you have questions, go to our website, which is www.gaylordpop.com. So I can make sure that we because on the website, rather, is a whole bunch of videos that answer some of these questions. And they're short, but they are very informative, and you can at least maybe get a sense of the direction that you need to go. Again, this is Saturday Morning with Sam. I'm Sam Gaylord, managing partner at Gaylord Pop, disability litigator in the state of New Jersey, representing injured workers in the areas of workers' compensation, Social Security disability, and disability pension appeals. I want to say thank you to everybody. Please make sure that you share this with as many people as you can. Make sure they come and join us Saturday mornings. If not, then make sure they're watching these episodes, because I guarantee you if somebody's been hurt and they have a question, it's something that we've dealt with. So please, please, please make sure that they know that there's a resource here for them. That's why I do this. I want people not only to have the right information, but be able to ask the right questions. And that's very important. So with that, I want to say thank you. I will see everybody next Saturday morning. Again, this is Saturday Morning with Sam. I'm Sam Gaylord, and I look forward to talking to you again next Saturday, 9 a.m., Saturday with Sam. I'll see you then. Bye now.